Well, it looks like it's 10 o'clock, everyone, and we're going to move on to contribution reporting. And Dolores Bernal, she's our Actives team lead. She'll be presenting today. So Dolores, go ahead and take control.
Thank you. We're going to cover some of the information on our contribution rates and reporting tutorials that we have. This might be more for our new employees or just a refresher for some employees. Here we, under local boards, under our website, of course, we'll find some very important information for, like I said, to maybe new employers, employers that just need a refresher. We'll cover some information on the, sorry about that, the enrollment process, how to actually do uploads. We'll do some live uploads for some dummy accounts. Don't worry, we're not going to share any real Social Security numbers or anything. So let's just get started. The first thing we're going to cover is under employers and local boards. We have some really important information. Here you will be able to submit. We'll show you like a step-by-step on how to submit either a fixed width file or how to submit an Excel file. It gives you a step-by-step. So you would just go down to our website. You don't have to log in. This is just our normal website, just our regular website. And you would just go to employers and local boards, go down to contribution rates and reporting. You will find this information. There's some really important information on here. And you just go down to contribution reporting. The first one is submitting fixed width. This will give you all the information you need. It's a step-by-step. It gives you everything. It starts with, it's like I said, it's very straightforward. It just begins with your email address, password, how to, if it's your first time, how to actually log in and create a password. It's a step-by-step. How to actually create the account or your employer account. You will go down to employers, go down to contributions. You will select your payroll. It gives you a drop down for that. You select the employer. In this case, we're just using Benson PD. Click on View Employer. It gives you a step-by-step of how to submit the method. Like I said, in this case, we're doing a fixed one. We no longer, well, some employers still do a breakdown of the employer contribution. They separate the contribution code and the EPSL or the unfunded liability. And some employers do combine this. You go down to this portion. If you're submitting a fixed file, you will have to set up your structure of your file. And like I said, this will give you an example of exactly how to do this. You would have to, if you're doing the fixed file, you will do your contribution code, which is 4-digit codes, and it will normally be in position 1, and it tells you step-by-step on how to do this. Once you have created the account or you have created your file, you will save your settings. This will save it for future reference. So next time you're ready to upload, you won't have to click on fix. It will automatically be under fix. It tells you, the pay periods, how to typically employers. It gives you a list of the pay periods that we do have. You would click continue to submission. You browse. This is once you have created an account and you want to upload your contributions. You will click browse. You find your file. You can either drop and drag that file in there, or you can double click and it will just upload that file. If there is a problem with the format, the system will let you know. It normally, if for some reason when you created your file, it was done incorrectly. If it was, let's say you added too much information, too many digits or too much data in one row, it will let you know. And normally it's going to give you this type of error right here. You will have to go back, try to correct it, and resubmit it. Once you correct it, it should let you be able to, like I said, resubmit your file. And this is normally what it will look like. Once everything has been populated and it's been correct, you successfully upload your file, you will see that you have correct contributions, no failing contributions, for instance. Just make sure that everything's populated on your upload. Make sure your periods are correct, make sure your contributions are correct. If there is a problem with one of the, or if there is an issue with one of the pay periods, which is incorrect, our system is designed to remove or remove that pay period. It will go down to none. It will display none. So you can either fix it on here, you can fix it on the portal, or go back to your file, correct the file, and then resubmit it. We don't have to worry too much about this anymore. The submitting the EPSL combined, that's no longer needed. That's been removed. Like I said, if you normally do split your contributions between the employer contribution and the EPSL, you can still continue to do that. It's not gonna do anything to our system. It's just gonna let you do it. If you combine it, great. If you don't, it's still fine. You don't have to do this anymore. This has been removed. You click validate, fix any errors you might see. For example, this one, it says the software makes what it does is our software makes two passes. First, it's going to look for the security number, then make sure that it has 9 digits. It will look for the contribution code, make sure the contribution code is correct, and then you can validate. So it's always going to check for this, make sure your pay periods are correct, fix those errors. On this one, this error message is just letting us know that there was a contribution was not found and it's required. And if there is actually no contribution, then a reason code must be submitted or must be entered. And this can be done under the drop down under the non-payment reason code. We also have a list of all the possible errors and the way to resolve them. Like this one is a contribution that was not found and is required. It normally indicates that it's expecting a contribution for a member, but it was not found in a file. It usually means that either the member has terminated or some sort of leave. So that's when we have to, try to investigate what is the reason this one's failing. There's also could be a reason where the Social Security number could be incorrect. Unfortunately, sometimes we might enter the Social Security number incorrect, and you guys have a different Social Security number than what we have. The system is looking for the correct for the one you're trying to submit, but we have something else. So then it will give us this contribution not found. And also we have, if there is a member that's on leave, we have the non-payment reason codes. They're listed here. If they're on leave for some reason, you will use one of these contribution codes. It could be presidential military leave, industrial leave without pay. They either quit, terminated, or simply resign. The unexpected contribution, again, it could be because maybe this employee has not been enrolled yet. So these are all the possible errors that could be found in your file and the solutions or the way to resolve these errors. Okay. There's also one of the biggest ones that we do see is employee contribution salary that do not match. Unfortunately, with employees going from one employer to another, sometimes we don't, you don't get you don't get the information on which the employee should be and what rate they should be paying. So then the wrong contribution is submitted. Our system our system will let you know that the contribution rate is incorrect, and typically will correct the contribution amount or the contribution that's being submitted. It's also the same thing with the employer contribution salary. If the pensionable wages are not correct, it's going to let you know that this contribution, this pensionable salary, or not the pension salary, I'm sorry, the employer contribution and the EPSL are not correct. So that's another possible error that we could find. And all contributions must have pensionable wages. For those employees that do break the contributions by the contribution and the EPSL, just make sure that both pensionable wages are the same. If it's off by a few, if it's off, even if it's just a little bit, the system will error out and it will let you know that the pensionable wages have to match, they have to be the same. And again, a contribution was not found and it's required. Whenever you encounter any of these, don't hesitate, give us a call. We can verify the Social Security number. We can find whatever, we can verify the information. Send us an email. We're always there to help. So that's basically the how to create an account for a fixed width, I'm sorry. And there's also one for Excel's contribution file, which is basically the same thing. It's another step-by-step, but again, it's just giving you the information on how to create the Excel spreadsheet. We also have some important information regarding invoices and how to create an account, or who to contact to create an account for your invoices and how to pay them. There's a step-by-step also. Where to pay, how to, the customer name, how to find them, how do you find it, where to, when you want, you're in there, or you already created an account, where to pay my bills, where to look at your invoices. Normally you will have access to this once you submitted your invoice, your file. You will see your invoices within 1 to 2 days. So you should be able to go in there and pay your bills. If you have time, you can go in there. If you've never done this, if you never enrolled into Wells Fargo, this is a good source. We recommend it. You wouldn't have to send wires, checks, or anything. You would just be able to pay through here. And if you need help with this, don't hesitate, give us a call, like I said, or send us an email on this. The other thing that we do have is, again, just creating contribution files. This one gives you a little more information on the different types of codes that we have. So it gives you it will give you the information on how to create a background of the data elements that we have, the reason code, the member wages, and more of in depth on how to create an account. But it also gives you, again, the contribution codes, the non-payment reason codes, and how to, if you're doing a fixed width, what it should look like. If you're doing an Excel or CSV format, this is what it should look like, or this is what you'll be seeing. And we also have the contribution code matrix, which it's very informative. It's very important for some of those employers. They have employees that are in all tier 3s. In all 3 different tiers. So for instance, this is for corrections, and we have public safety. For this, the contribution for public safety, these are the contribution codes right here, the DBCN, the DCCN, the DCDT, EPSL, the alternate contribution, the payroll deduction, and the subsidy. So let's say you have an employee who is a tier 3 employee, and your tier 3 employee is actually in the hybrid account. The contributions this employee is going to be paying and the employer is going to be paying is going to be right here. You just go right across the board. So this member is going to be under the DBC plan, and both the employee and employer pay this. If like I said, it's a hybrid. So then the DCCN, which is the nationwide contributions, are going to be paid by, again, by both employee and employer, and the EPSL, which is going to be paid by the employer alone. If your employee is only under the defined benefit, again, just the DBCN contribution code is paid by both employee and employer, and the EPSL by employer. Now, if the member is a tier 3 and he's in the defined benefit plan, you can combine the EPSL and the employer contribution. That can be done. However, if your employee is only in the defined contribution plan, this employee is a tier 3 defined contribution plan. Now the DCCN contributions are going to be paid by both the employee and employer. The disability is paid by both the employee and employer, and the EPSL is paid by only the employer. This would have to be broken down. The EPSL would have to be its own separate line. This cannot be combined. The EPSL can only be combined with the the defined benefit contributions. And then we also have the elected officials retirement plan contribution codes. So if you ever need assistance or you have questions on what type of code these employees should be paying, or who's going to be paying this, we have this matrix here. It's very helpful. I hope that helps. Okay, now we can get to the fun part. Well, for me anyways. We are actually going to be uploading some files just to kind of give you an example of how we do this. As Harold was mentioning, when you you as an employer, let me log off and show you. I will show you how I normally go in here. So of course, sorry about that. Okay, so you as an employer, of course, will just log in if you already have your account. Under the employer's menu, you can do, like he was showing you, the demographic manual screen. This is what it looks like. You would choose your employer or your employer, and of course, enter the demographic information. As he was mentioning, that if somebody quits, it's very important that you do update this information on the employment status, only because if this employee quits today and goes to another employer next month, or I'm sorry, the next day, the employer has to have the opportunity to be able to go in here and enroll them or enter his demographic into the portal. If we have an employee, if we have an employee that is just starting, just is a brand new employee that is going to be a tier 3, we recommend that you enroll them, even if the membership forms have not been completed yet, to enroll them or enter demographic information as soon as you know they've been hired, because as soon as this is entered, it will create an account for our members, and it will prompt an email to them. It will send them a welcome email, letting them know they can go ahead and go into the portal and make their election. They have 90 days to make their election. We also have our employee lookup. The lookup manual, I can give you a little example of how we do this. Give me a second. So for this example, I'm going to be using Clifton PD. And of course, you probably won't have as many employees, but we do. And give me a second, let me see. Okay, I thought I had the social security number for this employee. Give me a second, I'm sorry about that. so sorry. I'm sorry about this. I was trying to be prepared for you. Okay. So this is why the employee lookup is very important. We found the employee, we have the social security number, we have the date of birth, when he was hired, when the contributions actually begin, what tier this member is going to be. He's going to be in the tier 3 DB plan at 9.56%. However, we show that he's inactive right now. The status effective date means that he became inactive on 4/6/2024. So most likely this employee is either we have him under the quit terminated status, or he just hasn't been enrolled yet in the new plan. So this is what the employee lookup looks. Now I'm going to show you, or I'll demonstrate some of the error messages that we normally get once we upload a contribution. So for this, you, of course, will go down to contributions. Under contributions, you are going to select your employer. And again, we're going to work with Clifton PD. This is just the employer that we decided to work with. View employer. And this employer normally submits contributions. He's already been saved, submits contributions, or the type of method that they normally use is the XLSX file. I'm going to submit the pay period end date of 4/19/2024. We click continue to submission. I'm going to browse for my file. I'm sorry, I double clicked on it. I didn't drag mine, but here is the file, and it says 4/19/2024. Now, here is my file. I make sure that I do have the contribution code, social security number, that the pay period end date is correct to what I'm submitting, pensionable wages, and then I can just click validate. However, this file failed for me. This file is giving me 2 errors now. It's saying that the contribution was not found. The contribution was not found and is required. So it's requiring a contribution for this, and it dropped off or it doesn't have employee contribution or employer, and the pay date dropped off. This one is saying that the unexpected contribution, please check contribution and demographic data for this member. So this is telling me that this employee is requiring a contribution under this. It's requiring this contribution, but here it's not. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to verify that everything looks correct on this. So I'm looking at the contribution code. That's fine. The same contribution code. I'm looking at the name, same name, last name. Well, that's not going to affect it too much, but it is the same name. Social security number. I'm looking at the social security number, and I see that we have 608-225-5448, but yet on here we have 5446. So that's telling me that either I entered the wrong social security number when I enroll this member, or in my file. So at this point, we have to verify which is the correct social security number. Once we correct the file, or once we know which one is the correct social security number, we can move on with our file and go and submit a new file. Okay, we'll go to the second one. Again, go down to contributions. Contributions, we're going to select a payroll. Again, Clifton PD. View employer. We're going to continue with same pay period 4/19. So let's say I did fix I already fixed the social security number. So that's been corrected. However, now I'm going to try to submit it again. Hit next file. Okay. I got the correct social security number. That's been corrected. I'm going to validate this. And it looks good so far. There's no incorrect contributions. But let's make sure that our totals are going to match what we're trying to submit. Unfortunately, what I submitted in my file does not match the total that's being reported. When I look at here, it does tell me that the employer legacy cost and salary did not match the expected base calculated combined rate of 26.54 for this employer. So what that's telling me is that I'm using the incorrect contribution, that I'm using the incorrect rate for the employer. Both the employer and the EPSL are incorrect. So what our system does is it will auto-correct the contribution amount. It auto-corrected the contribution amount of $241.56 and the EPSL 429. What I was actually submitting for this employer I was actually trying to submit 670 combined contribution for my employer. So the blue not necessarily means that it's it's informational, but it's also something that you just got to make sure you're aware that, or just make sure that you do verify that the total contributions that are being invoiced matches what you're submitting. Once you click on preview invoice, again, you have another opportunity to see where the contribution amount would be for the employee, the employer, and the EPSL. The system will always break the employer contribution and the EPSL. And then of course you accept it. We got a couple more examples for you. These are just the most common errors that we come across. Okay, we're going to submit one more. So we're going to browse. Okay, actually, you know what? I'm sorry. We're going to do two more for you. This one, again, I'm submitting a contribution. We got my contribution code, social security number, 9 digits. We got I have my employee and employer contribution, pensionable wages, everything looks good. I'm going to validate. Again, we got another one that says contribution was not found and is required. And this one says unexpected contribution, please check contribution data for this member. So it's kind of the same like with the social security number. However, when I'm looking or when I'm going over verifying the information on my file, I see that the contribution code is a little different. So again, I got to verify if this member is in the correct plan. Is he supposed to be in the DBC plan or is he supposed to be in the DCC plan? Am I submitting the correct contributions to the correct plan? And when you have a red error like this, it's not going to let you move forward. It's going to stop you until this is corrected. Okay. And now we're going to look at a file that looks that's good, that there's no errors. Okay. Again, we're going to the same employer, Excel, pay period 419, continue to submission. We're going to browse. Okay, got everything I need. Okay, it looks like it did. It had no errors, no incorrect errors. My totals are correct. I can preview the invoice. Everything looks good. I can accept it. Now, what I wanted to just reiterate what Harold was saying is you are able to submit contributions within those 14 days. Even if you have already, we have terminated or you have updated the member status on the portal, we do have, it will work. I have this member, this member that I have right now that we've been using, I have them terminated or quit terminated as of 4/6/2024, and I was able to upload these contributions. So it does work. And this will give an opportunity for the new employer to enroll them without any, without any errors or without having to reach us or try to get a hold of us. And that's kind of it. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Harold.